Hey everyone, running late because I was doing something that I wanted to get done right before I go live right now! Hello and welcome to Friday afternoon here on twitch.tv/DDOstream and youtube.com/Dungeons and Dragons/live. I am DDO's community manager Cordovan, and if you see something smoking hot in the background, that's because I just got done with our update release notes for Lamannia. Now, I'm going to go over these notes. And the reason I'm doing it is because it's going to have all sorts of info that you have not seen. That'll be going live, most likely Monday-ish, to Lamannia. So, please keep in mind that I'm only going to do this, but we're going to try this as an experiment, because the notes are done-ish. The dev team has not had a chance to completely go over my notes yet. So, some of the information contained within may be inaccurate. Some of it may be removed. Some things may be added. Hopefully it's more accurate. Ideally it's mostly all accurate. In a perfect world it's all accurate. But don't be surprised if come Monday or Tuesday or whenever we go live with Lamannia, things are slightly different in terms of the numbers and how it works and all the rest. This was me pulling information straight from change lists, doing some back and forth with Steel Star and that on, say, some of the monk changes and that, and giving it a first pass. So consider this a first draft. I say in big letters, these notes will change over time, and oh man do I mean it today. But I thought, since we kind of haven't really... Things have come in... we've been working hard to get Update 33 out right basically after Update 32. And so we haven't had a lot of time to, say, bounce this stuff off the forums, although the Players' Council has seen just about all of this. But, so I know... it's not great, right? Ideally we would have given you guys, like, weeks to look over this monk stuff, but, hey, we're doing the best we can here. So I'm going to go over the notes to give you some pretty exciting stuff to chew over this weekend, hopefully. And if it turns out well and I don't end up, regretting this severely, then maybe we can do this kind of thing in the future. I will say one other thing. We haven't formally called the next update Update 33 yet. There's been some back and forth about whether it's Update 32 patch 1.2 or Update 33, but due to the sheer number of things in here, it better be Update 33, because it sure is update-like, if nothing else. So, let's go take a look at things. First off, I want to mention the date. I plugged in Monday, October 11th, because this is going to Lamannia. It may not be Monday. That's our goal, right, is to get a build approved basically over the weekend, and then get it published on Monday. Could be Tuesday, if things go wrong with the build, could even be Wednesday, but nonetheless, the goal is the first half of next week. This stuff's going to be seen on Lamannia. So yeah, there you go. First off, of special note, we have the Night Revels coming back. We are getting 2 new challenge-type quests, just like the other Night Revels quests, so they're going to scale, minimum level 5-ish all the way up to 35. And one is called Getting Ahead in Lord's March Plaza, and the other one is Hey Weird Foundry. Just like the other ones, you're going to be able to find this in Delira's Graveyard, scale up to 35 when the event's active, and there's a couple new pieces of loot in there as well. We have heard your feedback about upgrading some of the old Maybar loot to 28. I think that came up on this Wednesday's live stream. I bounced it off the team and they were like, yeah, that would be cool, we could probably do that. But we definitely are not going to be able to do that in time for this year's Night Revels. So hopefully next year, or whenever it comes back again, we'll be able to do a little more there, but no promises, right? Monk updates. Changes to the enhancement trees, hand wraps completely reworked. They now function as a new type of exotic weapon. As before, they count as a 2-handed weapon for equipment purposes, but benefit from the 2-weapon fighting bonuses. By default, they have a base die of 1d6 crit profile at 20 times 2. All existing hand wraps have been updated. I'm rolling the die and hope I don't get a 1. I'm going to take a guess that somewhere out there you've got a pair of hand wraps that's not going to update right. But so far, things are looking good that it just sort of updates and works. If that actually happens, involving the word hand wraps, then I think, you know, the skies will open up and an angelic choir will sing. But we'll see what happens here, right? And I'm going to get a lot more into detail on monks, you know, later on in this. New deity feats. Clerics, favorite souls, druids. I think I maybe missed a few. Anyone who can take a current deity feat is going to be able to take one of these new deity feats. So, like Morning Lord's got a line, right? Anyway, well, you'll see. For Eberron-based characters, the new feats are Onatar, Orion, Oladra, and the Blood of All. For Forgotten Realms, it's Elistre and Sylvanus. And now let's get into the nitty-gritty. The proper loading screen now displays when using the Far Shifter to travel to Three Barrel Cove on an airship. That's been a minor pet peeve for a bunch of folks for a long time, and we finally were able to figure out what the heck was going on there. It was one of those things where the devs had looked at it several times in the past and gone, it should work, why is this thing not working? Well, we finally figured out why it's not working, so we fixed it. Kenneth Crafting, here's a good one. Skill tomes, skill upgrade tomes, can once again be exchanged for purified Eberron dragon shards. Yes, we said it was going to be a bunch of work, but guess what? We did a bunch of work. No worries was like, fine. Well, he was not like fine. He was like, yes, okay, I will do the work. And so we did the work, and now PEDs are going to be exchanged for this stuff again. Except, of course, the ones that you get from character generation. Those have been retyped into basically a separate kind of skill and skill upgrade tome. Or a skill tome. So those are not going to be able to be ground down for PEDs, but all the ones you get from Daily Dice and such will work. Randomly generated items which could not previously be dissolved now can be. This has to deal with the non-scaling effect issue that was preventing some random gen loot from being dissolved. Warlock's Shining Through now gives temporary hit points equal to 8 times your constitution score rather than 12 times. Yeah, it's a little bit of a nerf, but it's kind of had to be done. Monk abilities that let unarmed attacks bypass damage reduction now also add DR to hand wraps as well. Monk stances, critical multipliers moved out of all mountain stances into their corresponding sun stances. Ocean stance has had its dodge raised to 36912%. Form Key moves elemental damage, now scales with melee power. Vorpal Strike now works with hand wraps. Most additional damage provided by Monk's elemental strikes now scales with melee power. All finishing moves that are melee attacks now deal +1 weapon on their attack. For the Fist of Light, it's now half weapon on its attack. That was 0, right? So we're trying to make Fist of Light be a little bit more competitive with the Fist of Darkness in terms of damage. Because Fist of Light also now deals 4d6 light damage, which scales with melee power to all creatures on hit. The Vorpal portion also scales with melee power, and the Fists of Darkness effect now scales with the melee power as well. Some finishing moves have had their text updated to kind of explain them a little bit better. Gathering Storm is now 15%, same with Raging Sea. Shining Star now uses Wisdom instead of Charisma for its saving throw. And that's just mostly because lots of monks have lots of Wisdom. Healing Key is now 1d4 per monk level instead of every 2 monk levels. And Moment of Clarity bonuses now stack. They were an insight bonus. Kenneth Challenge Boosters, those +20 jump potions you get in the DDO store, now going to be bound to account. They were kind of an odd person out being bound to characters, so we finally went in and fixed that. Divine Might, Know the Angles have their proper anti-requisites, so they don't stack anymore. Gnome's Wand and Scroll Mastery works now. Keep in mind, now is when Update 33 is released, so first to Lamannia and then eventually to Live later this month. Kensai's Martial Arts Enhancement Group now contains hand wraps. Warlock's Enlightened Spirit Brilliance no longer grants temporary hit points to NPCs. I'm not sure, because I haven't tested that, whether or not we're talking about NPCs that you need to keep alive, or just NPCs in general. I think we'll find out. So, Ninja Spy is getting some stuff. There's a new Tier 5 ability called Deadly Striker. When you're centered with something other than hand wraps or a quarterstaff, you get a +1 competence bonus to critical threat range. Kamas/shurikens double this bonus. Ninja Masters, a +1 competence bonus to critical multiplier. Again, no hand wraps quarterstaff. New Tier 2 action boost for melee and range power. Each ninjutsu ability in Ninja Spy now also grants +1 to hit and damage. Again, you're going to see no quarterstaff or hand wraps in this. Not quite sure the reason why. I'm guessing it might be a balance thing, or maybe an issue where it would not be good for two-handed fighting, but I'm not quite sure what the reasoning is for that. I'm going to have to ask. Basic ninja training and advanced now apply all weapons you're centered with. Ninja poison scales with melee power. Poison darts add 1d8 stacks of ninja poison. Ninja masters a +2 dex and wisdom. Competence bonuses equal competence bonuses to critical threat range. Now critical threat multipliers that benefit all centered weapons. It's a critical threat multiplier rather than a critical threat range. Poison exploit 1d10 +10 per stack. Touch of death scales 200%. Melee power no longer linked to ninjutsu. Shadow double goes up to 3 weapon. You can double strike 50%, but its duration's been doubled. Combined stealthy and faster sneaking have had their action point cost reduced to 1. Subtlety moved down to tier 1. Agility moved to subtlety's old spot. Ninjutsu now is a passive plus to hit and damage with centered weapons, and each tier ninjutsu is now 1 action point. Again, no hand wraps and quarterstaffs for most of that stuff. For Shintao, elemental curatives now grant +1 to hit and damage with centered and unarmed or with hand wraps. Read in the Wind, updated to match Kensei's stronger version. Elemental curatives, 1 action point. Kukando's DC is now wisdom based. Iron Skin now works regardless of stance. If Violet begets violence, again, no stance necessary. To Seek Perfection is a +4 wisdom. Touch of the Void Dragons, buffs to ability scores now stack with everything. All bonuses and core abilities that previously worked against tainted creatures now work with everything. Smite tainted creature now works with everything with an extra save needed for tainted. Jade Strike now works against all creatures. Except I'm going to probably say not red name bosses, although maybe I need clarity on that. With an added extra saving throw needed for tainted. Tomb of Jade works against all creatures, again probably not red names. Rise of the Phoenix, Empty Hand have switched places. Empty Hand Mastery is now +1 competence bonus to critical threat range and multiplier when using hand wraps. And Meditation of Wars bonuses now stack with everything else. Henshin Mystic. You no longer get spell power and spell critical for each core ability. Instead, you get an equivalent amount of melee power. Keybolt has had its damage improved to per monk level. Sounding Staff no longer makes staves implements and instead gives you a +2 key per hit. And the Quick Draw feat. Serenity's wisdom bonus is now +4, no longer has spell power and crit bonuses, gains +25 melee power. Elemental Words do 1 weapon and give the enemy +2 stacks of vulnerability on hit. Quick Strike cooldown has been lowered. Void Strike now deals 3 W damage. Its Force part now scales with melee power. Mystic Training is an action point. Embrace the Void's an action point. Focuses bonuses to hit and damage now stack with everything else. Everlight casts a Shadow's 2 weapon. Target gets 1d4 negative levels. All nearby enemies get 1d2 negative levels immediately. That's not terrible. And all 3 trees' elemental key strikes have been changed. Eagle Claw attack now applies 4 stacks up to 15. Knock the Sky reduces physical damage by 4% per stack. Unbalancing Strike is now 3 weapon. I'm just taking a look at the chat. Any good questions there? Can we add a burst effect to random gen weapon damage types? No plans to do that. Sorry. Except what may already exist. Ninjas should be able to insta-kill? Probably. Alright, let me move to Epic Destinies. Divine Crusaders and Consecrated Ground. Again, no longer heals NPCs. I think that may be more of a technical thing than a practical thing, but we'll see. Here's the nice non-controversial one. Fury Eternal and Unbridled Fury now explicitly say they work with ranged. Yes, that was a decision 4 years in the making. But at least for now, we've said, okay, fine, you guys can have it. Grandmaster of Flowers now grants hand wrap proficiency. That's kind of cool, especially if you want to take advantage of the various things in Grandmaster of Flowers. So, we have 6 new deity options. Again, I say clerics, paladins, favored souls. I think that's accurate. Each one has a follower, child, unique active ability, and beloved feat. They do various things that you can read on in the notes, but let's get to the main part. We got Orion, Sovereign of Law and Lore, available to all Eberron characters except in the Blade Forged, favored weapon quarterstaff. You get Orion's Instruction. You are a devoted follower. Your faith has been rewarded. You get +4 Wisdom, +3 Spell Pen, +2 to your effective level of Turn Undead, +4 to max hit die when turning undead, +4 to total hit die affected by Turn Undead. Turn Undead, Turn Undead. That's kind of cool. And again, it's got a duration. Eladra is the Sickle. Eberron characters, again, no Blade Forge because they have to follow the Lord of Blades. Level 6 is Luck of Eladra. You get the ability to heal yourself or an ally to full health and bestow 1d6 luck bonus to each ability score lasting a certain amount of time. Onatar, again, all Eberron. Warhammer's its favored weapon, and its active ability at level 6 is a duration where you get +3 to tactical feats, +10 to melee power, repair spell power, rust spell power, and fire spell power. If you are a Warforged or otherwise already benefit from repair, you get +30 repair amp. Blood of All is another Eberron thing. Its favored weapon's dagger, and its active feat is the Blood is the Life. For a duration, you get +4 con, fortification 100%, +10 to fort, PRR, MRR equal to your number of religious lore feats you have. It's a typo there I'll have to fix. Your attacks with dagger also get vampirism and stack with other sources of vampirism. Helm is a Forgotten Realms one. Helm the Watcher, the Guard of Guardians, Protection, and Protectors. No Morning Lords, because, again, what Morning Lords are Clerics of Aminator. Favored weapons, Bastard Sword. Ever Watchful's the active feat. For a duration, you get True Seeing, +5 Sacred bonus to Spot and Search, Wisdom. Fort saves, PRR equal to your lore feats. Sylvanas is the other Forgotten Realms one. Its favored weapons, Amal. At level 6, you get a toggle that gives you a +4 natural bonus, armor bonus to AC. And Mauls you wield get +2 to their critical threat range. Excuse me, this stacks with other sources. I assume other natural armor bonuses even. I've also adjusted how the basic deity feats to favored weapons work. The first will give you +1. Well, right now it gives you +1 to hit with your favored weapon, and +1 to hit and damage for the other two. The first one's going to remain unchanged, but the second one's going to still give +1 to hit and damage if your weapon's exotic, but for all the rest it'll be +2, and the beloved of, the third one, will be +1 if your favored weapon is exotic, +2 if it's martial, +3 if it's simple. And all these bonuses are cumulative. So, you know, you can get up to like +5 to hit, +6 to damage after taking all 3 feats. Blade Sworn Transformations duration now has the same duration as all the rest. Favored Soul, Angel of Vengeance is kind of interesting. So this is the Angel of Vengeance enhancement tree. Its 6th core is Ascendancy, and that's now going to give a different bonus depending on your chosen deity. I guess I'm not going to go through all of them, but it's generally +2 to a stat like Charisma, +2 to either Bluff, Heal, Spellcraft, UMD, Repair, Spellcraft. It depends on what it is, but a +2 to some kind of skill there. And then also you're going to be able to cast some kind of spell without using spell points. For Orion, its command, Eladra, is Lucky Cape. Onatar is Repair Serious Damage. It's not terrible. Blood of All is Inflict Moderate Wounds. Helm is Mass Aid, and Sylvanas is Vigor. Stunning Fist now specifically requires hand wraps to use. This was a minor controversial one, I think, but the main point is we needed to do that in order to get hand wraps working. So, although I don't know how many of you out there actually use Stunning Fist unarmed. I'd be curious to get a sense of how often that's actually done. Hand Wraps is now an exotic proficiency feat. Monks get it at level 1, and they've been added to feats that grant bonuses with bludgeoning weapons. We fixed the thing last year where the Festivalt Abishai cookies didn't set up correctly when you ate all 5 of them. That'll happen, of course, when Festivalt hits. Old Kenneth challenge items now will be properly affected by Masterful Craftsmanship, and yes, this is retroactive, so I guess you should have enjoyed your lower level, minimum level while you had it. Legendary Green Steel Conjure Bolts augment now actually conjures bolts. And Planar Shards Outsider tokens and Draconic runes now go into bags. Monster Manual plant icon doesn't look like a beholder anymore. There's no longer a bunch. Actually, we did a big typo pass, so I only included a couple of them that seemed particularly pointed out by the community, but there's literally dozens of sort of typos that we went through and fixed throughout the game here for Update 33. We also fixed most, if not all, of the places where optional objectives were not telling you what you needed to kill. Like, it used to be, say, like, kill 5 Orthons, and then it turned into kill 5, and now it's kill 5 Orthons again. Unfortunately, this was not a systemic change. We could not fix it for everything, so we had to identify and find every case where there was an optional objectives that had a counter-based enemy kill count to achieve. And we think we found them all, but there's certainly some possibility that we missed one or two, and we'll have to fix that when they come up. Slavers of the Shrieking Mines now has a second beholder. That one's been there for a while. Beyond the Rifts dialogue box no longer stays open. A couple other things like that. We fixed, again, fingers crossed, we fixed the giant old issue where you try to go from the public area to the wilderness and then get back to the public area. There's kind of a problem where, you know, there's 2 gates, right? So the one on this side, say, would take you from the public area to the wilderness. The one on this side would take you from the wilderness to the public area, and there was a gap on this side. So you'd click on it in some places, and you'd actually be activating this one, which would send you back to the public area. So we went and looked at all the physics walls and things like that and fixed it. So, and Demon Assault no longer spawns enemies after the last chest is opened. I thought that was working as intended, but whatever. Protection from Evil now is its proper length immunity ward. It used to be the immunity ward was a lot shorter than the rest of the benefit. Now it's all the same. And you can no longer stab people with your ponytail. We talked about that in the past. That's a T-pose issue, where it wasn't coming out of its T-pose state correctly. And now it does. There could be some more things added, but most likely this is the bulk of what the next update's going to be, which again is going to be released before the Night Revels, because we have new Night Revels stuff. And so our goal is to get it out within a couple of weeks, because we want it to be, Night Revels to be active in time for Halloween. So there we go. Let me see if we got any questions. Edward T. Will the Earthen Mantle's Impulse spell power work for SLAs, or is it already fixed but not updated in the wiki? Sorry, I don't know. When is Lamannia? Hopefully Monday. Oops, that's not the right one. Oh my gosh, I've changed games. I'm such a traitor. There we go. It's bound to happen. Mauls with +2 crit will be pretty sweet. Bastard Sword Feet. Yeah, you know I'm digging that. Are there no alignment restrictions for following these deities? I guess not. It's an interesting subject. Maybe something we should take a look at in the future, but no. It would make sense on the Eberron side, at least, because alignment is largely deprecated in the Eberron campaign setting, but certainly for the Forgotten Realms side, it might make some sense. Is there monk's skills that can increase melee damage now as there were none before? Yes. As I looked in the notes there, there's actually quite a few abilities in the monk enhancement trees at the very least that scale with melee power. So there should be quite a few things in there that'll help you out there. Alright. Lots of work done by the devs. Heck yeah, dude. On top of that, if you think about it, we just released update 32 here in late August, so you're really looking at approximately 1 month of serious hardcore work. Even less, really, because we had that week after update 32, we were working on like some hot fixes and patches. So they've been working very hard the last 3 weeks, and got a lot done, frankly. So. Daikiel says, will there ever be an update on the Intimidate skill to help produce more threat for those of us that enjoy playing tanks, or perhaps a feat top tier enhancement that will augment guard damage to help maintain threat? That makes a lot of sense. I know people... I mean, I'll play with a couple of Intima tanks, and they have certainly got no issues keeping things pasted to them. But maybe that's just their specific build or something like that. So, it would make sense to perhaps have some kind of passive threat generation for Intimidate. But I don't know of any plan immediately to do that. Is Update 33 considered to be the, quote, Monk Pass? It's looking a lot more Monk Passy than it did a couple weeks ago, I'll tell you that much. Because, you know, we weren't even sure whether we were going to get all the enhancements done or all the hand wraps done or some combination, and turns out we were able to get it all done. So, while we never say done on any class pass, it kind of looks like monks... We'll have to see how things look after Update 33 here, right? Because we've certainly got a lot of changes to the monk going on. So... Urlock, concerning Kenneth challenge gear that was existing with masterful craftsmanship prior to Update 32 fix coming? Yes, that's in the notes. That's the one... So right now, basically, they had their minimum level... Not lowered? I can't remember, I'm sorry. Yes, it'll be fixed. How do I get hair dye for bears? I'm sorry. You probably don't. I want it to. We'll see what happens. Is the fear immunity in greater heroism bugged? I don't know, Titan, is it? I see, so hand wraps are being changed. Can they still be used as ingredients to make collars in their new form? Yes. Yeah, that part of it's unchanged, you know, because that's just by, is it a hand wrap? Otherwise, hand wraps, you know, they're now an exotic feat, so they have been separated out from unarmed, and they have some, you know, other things that were in the notes there. While making hand wraps a feat, mess with Wolf Pet Iron Defender. The collar is considered a hand wrap. I would think not, because when you put it on your pet or Iron Defender, you're not putting on hand wraps, you're putting on a collar. So the issue... The collar is considered a hand wrap? In what way is it considered a hand wrap? Because my understanding is you would take a hand wrap, if you wanted to, and turn it into a collar, but that would turn it into a collar, not keep it as a hand wrap. Is there somewhere in there specifically that says it's a hand wrap? Maybe I'm misunderstanding how that works. It should... Regardless, the plan is to know. It's just going to work like it did. So if that isn't the case, then we'll have to deal with that. Okay, actually, before I do this, I'm actually going to... I logged into Kyber, but now I'm taking that back. I'm going to go onto an admin and show you something kind of cool. As long as we're kind of dropping the news bombs here. So, we have got a Champion Hunter Week that goes through next Thursday. And one of the things that kind of snuck into it, that I was like, really? Oh, okay. 2 new items. We have got the Gold Executioner's Armor and the Gold Executioner's Helmet. And I will show you what it looks like here in just a second. Hopefully I can show it on both the male and female character. But I may have to switch servers or create a quick demo character to do it. But that's fine. Okie doke. Let me show you what it looks like in the game. There we are. I am on my admin here, and I'm going to actually just use my admin abilities to create said items. So, this is available through this week. It's in the Crowns category. For 10,000 remnants. Yes, that's a lot. Yes, I now extremely regret my decision to turn them into MRR and PRR tomes. But here's the gold armor. So this is basically a gold version of the Executioner's Docent, which is available in the new Slave Lord stuff. And then the helmet is again a gold version of that. So combined, though, you're looking pretty rad. Were I to say such myself. Try to put in a little bit better light. I often will take screenshots. If you ever see like the item guides, you'll see that I use this particular section a lot, because you can flip the camera around and get some nice contrast on your character, depending on the time of day and stuff. It helps it stand out from the walls. Pretty cool though, huh? And these are available, like I say, for the next week or so, through the next week, in the Mysterious Remnants vendor in the Hall of Heroes. This is going to come back as part of the regular Crowns rotation that we have for Remnants. Three weeks of Rells would be great. Yeah, I think it's if not 3 weeks, at least 2 full weekends. Close to 3 weeks. So, in a perfect world, I think we're targeting some... Let's see. So, it's probably going to be in the range of 2 to 3 full weeks, depending on when Update 33 comes out. All right. Yeah, so about a year from now, people will have a piece of it. So I had enough to get it up until on Atlantis, up until a week and a half ago. I didn't even know this was coming. How terrible is that? I was like, when I saw that in the bonus stage today, I was like, what? I mean, I knew that we were developing it, but I had no idea that it was already in the catalog, as it were, and ready to go. So. Alright. Good enough. Yeah, kind of, I was kind of like, what? Really? Yeah, I kind of wish I'd saved my remnants now. It's kind of a bummer. But hey, gives us something to work for. Alright, let me do the same creation of the helmet and the gold on the female character so you can see what it looks like. take that rune arm off just because it looks a little strange. It's actually pretty similar to the male version. There's not a big difference, which is kind of nice. You can see it has its regular curves a little bit, but for the most part, it's pretty much the same armor. That's pretty cool looking. So there we go. Growler says, so now that we are adding evil deities, can you ask when we are getting evil alignments, please? We are almost definitely not getting evil alignments ever. Sorry. It has been a long-standing team decision to not do evil alignments in DDO. We are heroes, we are not evil. Sorry. Yes, it is nice, Titan. Kind of wish the skirt was symmetrical. Yeah, that's good feedback. I mean, there's a bunch of reasons not to do evil alignment. I don't really feel like rehashing that kind of old argument that's been done a bunch, but if you allow evil alignment and you allow role-playing, do you therefore allow role-playing evil? If someone trolls someone else in character and they're just being evil, does that mean they're still trolling? The answer is yes. But it opens up a can of worms also with lore. Why would an evil character do a certain thing or say a certain thing to an NPC in the game? Like when you're picking up a quest, why would you say, yes, we'll help you, when you should say no? You know, things like that. There's just all these kind of little things that, you know, aren't necessarily tied to the core of actually running a character around the world and attacking things, but have to do with sort of the way we position you within the world that I think would be an issue. And yeah, we got chaotic neutral. That's pretty close. Alright, now I'm actually on Kyber, on my regular play character here. We could add future deity feats in the future. You know, right now we were able to bring this number of them into update 33, but if they prove exceptionally popular, there's nothing saying we couldn't do more of it. So, perhaps. So it looks like I am not set up for Mark of Death on Kyber here. So why don't I, well, I got about 20 minutes yet, maybe run through one of those quests and see how that goes. I can never remember which side's the... There we go. I mean, yeah, there are certainly arguments to be made that an evil character could be willing to help a good person if it served their own needs. But again, you get into kind of a dialogue issue, and it just doesn't really fit with the core of our game, which is that you're a hero. I am also not really sure what the overriding reason to be evil would be. I mean, why would you want to be evil, ultimately? You can kind of roleplay however you want. On top of that, since we're based in Eberron, like I said, there is alignment in Eberron, but it was deliberately minimized in the Eberron campaign setting. Keith Baker, who designed Eberron for pen and paper, was like, basically, alignment's stupid. People shift alignment all the time. They can do whatever they want. You know, the whole world is based on sort of shifting alliances and diplomacies and things like that. So the whole idea of alignment in the Eberron campaign setting is only there because it's in the rule set. if ultimately Keith Baker had the ability to do so, he probably would have removed alignment altogether off of Eberron. Yeah, I never really cared about alignment either. Now, the only time I'd really care about alignment as a DM in particular is if my player who had a lawful good paladin, for example, truly just wanted to murder someone in cold blood or something like that. And yes, that would happen. You know, I would, it's got flagged. I would be like, wait a second, aren't you a good guy? You know, but that's about the extent of my involvement in alignment personally in pen and paper. And I do think about alignment on my character sheets. You know, are they good, neutral? I've never really played evil either, but in pen and paper. I guess let's do desecrated. I don't have a rogue. Well, I'll try it anyway.
This once magnificent temple of God was ravaged by Black Ag's forces.
I'm gonna need a pocket cleric here. Garrett. I would love to see a level 28 cleric hireling, but hey. Well, if someone wants to join me on Kyber, if you got a couple minutes here and you feel like joining me, send a tell to our MOG. I'd be happy to get you on. Said I'm just kind of doing this thing for 15 minutes after going through the notes and all that. So kind of a casual gameplay light session of Friday afternoon here today. But you know, I had just, like I said, I had just kind of gotten that first draft of the release notes out right before going live here. So I thought, you know what the heck, let's the only reason we say didn't post this monk and deity stuff to say the forums is that it just weren't really ready until this week. So you know, we clearly have been doing quite a bit in a short amount of time. Yeah, a nice high-level rogue would be good too, although I'm not entirely sure that... I mean, I think to some extent the reason there aren't super high-level rogues is that there's a decision that, you know, maybe we should let a rogue be a rogue. So, like, get a rogue, for example, if you want to do high-level stuff like that. But there would definitely be an interest, I think, in having it. It's also a very good question of whether or not should a rogue hireling be able to kind of no-fail traps in legendary elite, epic elite. Right now, they pretty well don't do very great in that content, and that seems like that might be okay.
Ancient rubble
but
chokes the corridor.
your opinion may differ.
You glimpse a light down at the very end of the darkened hallway.
You're right, I don't think there would be anything problematic about evil fighting evil, Wizenman says. I mean, that's a very good point. They absolutely would fight evil, right? I think it's, like I said, it's more about NPC dialogue, interactions with other players, what kind of, frankly, trolling and other poor behavior it might bring to the game. Lore reasons with having to deal with, you know, our various licensors and such. Just kind of all the ephemera of what would it mean to play an evil character in DDO.
The way down into the temple depths opens.
Clevebeard says, I am thinking of starting a game stream. I did about a 14-minute test stream on DDO last night. Awesome. First stream ever. Would like it if people check it out. Yeah, sweet. So that is twitch.tv/Clevebeard, and that is CLEAVBEARD. That's great. If, you know, if it works out that you're digging it and things continue to go well, it would be pretty awesome if you wanted to join the DDO stream. I know you're certainly a frequent visitor and contributor in chat to our live stream, so it'd be nice to get you on in a more official capacity. I'd be totally into that. So just get a little practice on your own, and then give me a call, text, email, whatever. Say give me a call, right? When was the last time you actually got a phone call that was not maybe your mom or dad? Even my mom. My mom now, you know, living in northern Minnesota and all, she is fully switched over to the Skype lifestyle, which I have too. And it's because, you know, she gets to see your grandson or see your son like in person. You get the context of actually being able to look at a person, and that's just way better than a telephone. So whenever I'm talking to my mom, it's always over Skype. Interestingly, though my dad, who is a tech head, does not use Skype. He still likes to sit on the couch, the phone to his ear. So he is just about the only person still left in my life who actually gives me a call on the telephone. If it wasn't for him, I probably could just get away with not having a phone at all.
Lost in prayer, the High Priestess kneels before the altar.
Am I doing Movember this year? Yeah, absolutely I am. For DDO, at the very least. There's some question about whether, you know, I'm doing some work on Lord of the Rings Online now too, and I want to do some kind of charity, you know, one charity event for both games, for Lotra as well as DDO, just because I think it's an important thing to help give people a good outlet to give in a place that's really meaningful and we can really have an impact. But one of the things is that Lord of the Rings Online has historically gone with Extra Life, which is a pretty cool thing, rather than Movember. So I'm trying to decide whether I should do Extra Life then Movember, do them both at the same time, maybe pick one over the other in alternating years. I don't know. Like I said, it's a little up in the air at this point. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do.
Now our time has come.
If you guys have any opinion about it, let me know. Because I'd hate to let, you know, Extra Life, who supports children's hospitals and things like that, not get the charity money that they've gotten from Lord of the Rings Online in years past. But at the same time, I've never really done Extra Life, so, you know, I'm less tied to it. I don't really know what that would mean. And I'm not sure if the community would like two charities or not. Javor, my landline phone rang for the first time in weeks the other day and it scared me. I know, right? Isn't that funny? There's no way I'm gonna find this, am I? Nope. Alright. Fine. Oh. I might have an old secret doors clicky. No, looks like I'm out of luck. Oh well. Danalea, no, you should see a lot more than just the schedule. If you're just seeing the schedule, go ahead and refresh the page. That'll probably solve it for you. Now, neither of my parents are really on social media. My dad a little more so than my mom. But my mom's one of those folks who's just like, no Facebook. I don't want to give them all my info. What if we created a DDO version of Leroy Jenkins? What, are you telling me I'm not? I'm pretty close to a DDO version of Leroy Jenkins as it is. Why am I... Oh, I'm feared, that's why. You joikey. Stop a-fearing me. Yes, I'm doing this easy mode, because I just want a flag for Mark of Death on Kyber, so I don't... And I'm soloing, so I can just kind of cruise through it all on normal. A lot easier, with a lot less headaches than I would on this. If I had a group with me, though, I would probably go at least on hard for these. At least on this one. And, Inferno of the Damned. Oh, the other thing I could mention that isn't in the release notes, because we don't typically put that in the release notes, is work was done this week to update the Festival cookies. If you follow us, you know, on Festival, you'll know that every year we switch out some of the cookies for new cookies. That work was done this week. And once again, the dev team was kind enough to kind of let me take a little bit of a lead on it. You know, they offered their own input and nixed my crazy ideas, but I got to pick some new cookies this year, so we're going to have some new cookies for Festival. And my goal has, for the last couple of years, has been to have a no-bad cookie policy. You got your weaker copper, your decent silver, and your pretty good gold. That's the goal, anyway. But I kind of wanted to move away from having lame ones. The only one that's still a little lame is the Cupcake, which I upped from Heal Light to Heal Moderate last year. I didn't update it to Heal Serious this year, just because it does kind of drop pretty frequently. And I didn't want low-level players to just totally use those. But everything else is, I think, I tried to figure out, okay, so what sucked last year? And that was what I switched out. What did I actually not use at all last year? And then I tried to find a better thing for it that still fit within, say, the lore of that particular plane of existence that it comes from. That was kind of the goal. You need to find the release notes. They do not exist in a public fashion. Not until they're published for Lamannia. They exist in an internal development wiki, which I put on the screen here earlier.
Interloper, come to my altar, says a voice from nowhere.
Not every year, Growler. Throughout most of DDO's history, it's actually been done by a member of the development team. But last year, they were kind enough to let me do some of that work. At least the initial pass as to what should maybe be changed. And because overall feedback was pretty positive last year. We are doing it again this year, so I don't get to say pick the cookies, but I kind of get to pick the cookies because I get to suggest, make that first suggestion of, hey, why don't we do this, 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 and this, and provided it also falls in line with the wishes of other folks on the development team, it gets implemented. Am I the Festival Jester? I could never admit to that. I would ruin it. It's some anonymous guy who logs into the forums. The Festival Jester himself logs into the forums. I assure you it is not me. I'm going to wait 45 seconds for my unbridled fury. I suppose I could give myself a death ward while I'm at it. Probably put on my Silver Flame Trinket, just so I don't have to deal with that. Got that. Alright, well, cool. Good to go.
The blood of Vol has returned to reclaim our temple, the High Priestess says. Yet only the faithful can be allowed to know. Guards, destroy these intruders. The High Priestess crumples.
There we go.
A final whisper escapes.
Good timing.
She will prevail. She must prevail.
Ah, that's not terrible. Epic Emerald Gaze. That's kind of rad. I could actually use that on this guy. Finally get rid of my Minos Legans. Nice. It's pretty good for a quick, easy run. Even got some decent amount of tapestry shreds. Put that on. Display that helmet. For those who care what it looks like. Which I think I will switch back to goggles. There you go. Why not replace potions with cookies full time? We want the cookie thing to be a festival event. Why not add some cookies? Could. We have a lot of cookies already that we look at every year. So we could add some more, but we try to have as many as there are planes on Eberron, plus a few odds and ends for named bosses, like the Eritrikos cookie and the Taken cookie, which isn't a boss. But at its core, I think we have a pretty good number of cookies already. And we don't add them because that's, part of the whole festival holiday. Will there be an update to Rezia? I don't think so. It will be back in January, but I don't think I have not heard of any plans to update it, like with new items or anything like that. Cool. Alright. We need a number Hulk cookie? You're right. Gosh, we should do that one. Thanks for watching Friday afternoon here on twitch.tv/DDO stream and youtube.com/DungeonsandDragons/live. Quick reminder, we do have the Champion Hunter Week going on through next Thursday with the 2 new items I showed off today. We also do have a 25% Caneth Crafting XP boost. This is the first time we've brought in the Caneth boost since we updated new Caneth Crafting, and kind of the first time we've done a crafting boost in a while. So if you're looking to level up a bit on Caneth Crafting, this is a good weekend to do that. It does stack with all the other bonuses that you would get to your Caneth Crafting XP. We're looking next week for Lamannia, which will probably be called Update 33, and you can watch the archives today through the weekend if you want to look at those release notes again. Otherwise, they'll be published when we go live on Lamannia, here with perhaps a few changes. Alright, everyone. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a great DDO weekend.